Hello? Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, it's working. Caitanya Caritamrta, text 24, lila, chapter 6, 7. 7. 7 in French we say sept. So I mix French and German, English, sorry. Caitanya Caritamrta is PhD of all the Vedic literature. It's a PhD of Vedic literature, Srila Prabhupada explained. Why PhD? Because this is the cream of the cream of the literature. This is a biography of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, this is called Caitanya Charitamrta. Caitanya Amrita. Caitanya means force life, the force life, or the life within ourselves, giving the force to live. Amrit means eternal, above death, beyond birth and death, eternally. So we are going to read. It's good. It's better. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. So in this section of Adi-lila, Adi means beginning. There are 3 parts in Caitanya Caritamrta: beginning, middle, and end. We are reading today beginning of Caitanya Caritamrta. I will read Sanskrit. It's So we repeat. You can repeat after me. Lutiya kaya diya bandara ujade. Lutiya kaya diya. Ascharya bandara prema shata gunabade. Lutiya kaya diya bandara ujade. Ascharya bandara prema shata gunabade. Lutiya kaya diya bandara ujade. Ascharya bandara prema shata gunabade. You can read from here. Lutiya kaya diya bandara ujade. Aschaya bandara prema shata gunabade. Stefan. Okay. Lutiya kaya diya bandara ujade. Aschaya bandara prema shata gunabade. Somebody wants to try? Lutiya Gaya Diya Bandara Ujade. Aschaya Bandara Prema Shata Guna Bade. Somebody else? Daniel? You want to try? Lutiya Bhakaya Diya Bandara Ujade. Acharya Bandara Prema Sata Guna Bade. Somebody else wants to try? Lutiya Bhakaya Diya Bandara Ujade. Acharya Bandara Prema Sata Guna Bade. Lutiya Kaya Diya Bandara Ujade. Aschaya Bandara Prema Sata Guna Bade. You repeat after me. Lutiya plundering. Plundering. You know plundering, meaning of plundering means the thieves, they go to plunder, they take out the treasure, the plunder, they take out the treasure from the recipient of the bank or the container. Kaya, eating. Diya, distributing. Pandara, store. Ujade, emptied. Ascharya, wonderful. Bandara, store. Prema, love of Godhead. Shataguna, 100 times. Bade, increases. Translation by His Imangade Sabhai Charana Binda Bhakti Vedanta. Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although the members of the house of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity, for this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases hundreds of times. Purport. A pseudo incarnation of Krishna once told his disciple that he had emptied himself by giving him all knowledge and was thus spiritually bankrupt. Such bluffers speak in this way to cheat the public. But actual spiritual consciousness is so perfect that the more it is distributed, the more it increases. Bankruptcy is a term which applies in the material world. But the storehouse of love of Godhead in the spiritual world can never be depleted. Krishna is providing for millions and trillions of living entities by supplying all their necessities. And even if all of the innumerable living entities wanted to become Krishna conscious, there would be no scarcity of love of Godhead, nor would there be insufficiency in providing for their maintenance. Our Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly, and no one provided for our livelihood. But at present, we are spending hundreds and thousands of dollars all over the world, and the movement is increasing more and more. Thus, there is no question of scarcity, although Jealous people may be envious. If we stick to our principles and follow in the footsteps of the Paramtattva, this movement will go on unchecked by imitation. Swamis, sannyasis, religionists. Jai Shri Pala Nishingadev. Jai Shri Lakshmi Nishingadev. So this movement will go on unchecked by imitation. Swamis, sannyasis, religionists, philosophers, or scientists, for it is transcendental to all material considerations. Therefore, those who propagate the Krishna consciousness movement should not be afraid of such rascals and fools. It's very straightforward purport. Om Jnanatimanandasya Jnanjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gudave Namaha Chaitanya Manobistam Jinabutale Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Butale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Datati Spapanantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Chatam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cham. Hey Krishna Karuna Sando Jinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansara Gorangi Radhe Vrindavadishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I read again the translation. Although the members of the Paramtattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity, for this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases hundreds of times. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutari Shrimati Bhakti Swarup Tamada Swaminiti Namine Namasad Bhakta Manaya Manipura Udbhavayacha Prabhupada Lasadvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutari Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyacha Dejatarine. This is relevant. Oh, thank you for getting the sound. It's very auspicious beginning of the class. So there is relevancy about this verse for today because there are so-called incarnations of God, pseudo-incarnation of Krishna. Once he told his disciple that he had emptied himself by giving him all knowledge, and was thus spiritually bankrupt. Bankrupt, everybody knows what is bankrupt. Yes. So, Srila Prabhupada explained that such bluffers, those who bluff in this way, speak in this way to cheat the public. There are some people, they want to be cheated. Like some people, they want to be cheated. And it's like you go in the market, you have a market of fruits, vegetables, and sometimes the salesmen, they sell second-hand fruit, I mean very old fruits, and then they sell it for a very cheap price. It's maybe 2 days old, 3 days old, but very cheap. A big amount of fruits, but very cheap. I saw in Mayapur. Very cheap, but they are not good quality. But sometimes there are some devotees that have not much money and they can spend little money for a big amount of fruits. And it's like to have a cheap, we want to have like a cheap fruits or cheap commodity or cheap way of life. And today there are many thinkers like this. They think, oh, we buy cheap and we have, in this way, we can save some money. But on the run, the money is maybe saved, but the quality of the product is not so enjoyable. So here, to cheat the public, this is a way how bluffers, they can really manipulate some mass of people today on the planet. Srila Prabhupada explained that the spiritual consciousness is so perfect that the more it is dissipated, the more it increases. Bankruptcy is only a term where we apply in the material world. But the storehouse of love of Godhead in the spiritual world can never be depleted. Here, Srila Prabhupada explained that Krishna can provide for millions and trillions of living entities by supplying all their necessities. And even if all the innumerable living entities wanted to become Krishna conscious, there would be no scarcity of love of Godhead, nor would there be insufficiency in providing for their maintenance. In the Vedas, Vedic literatures, it explained, there is one shloka speaking, Eko bahunam yo vidalati kaman, Nicha nichanam chetanas chetananam. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. You know. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Eko. Eko means in Sanskrit one. Eko bahunam vidadati kaman. One living entity is giving bahunam, unlimited facilities for maintenance. Bahunam. Eko bahunam vidadati. Dadati is giving every day. Eko bahunam vidadati kaman ya. So he is giving to millions and trillions living entities. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Nicha nichanam, since time immemorial. Nicha nichanam. Chetanas. Chetan means consciousness. The supreme consciousness, or the supreme personality of Godhead, or God, is providing, since time immemorial, unlimited maintenance for all the living entities. Nicho nichanam. There is one. Nicho nichanam. Chetanas chetananam. So chetanas chetananam, the consciousness of all the living entities, they are provided all what they need. One person only is doing this. It's confirmed in the Vedic literature. The members of the Paramtattva. Did you hear? Somebody don't know who is Paramtattva? Raise your hand. Good. Katarina, you don't know? Okay. So pancha means five. Pancha. You see on the altar, there is a picture on the left side. You see the picture on the left side? In the middle, you have Caitanya Mahaprabhu dancing. On his right side, you have Nityananda Prabhu dancing. And on the right side of Nityananda Prabhu is Sri Advaita Acharya. There are very special features. These are the 5 aspects of God, of Godhead. 5 aspects of Godhead. Panchatattvam makam Krishna bhaktavattaram bhaktakcham namami bhakta shaktikam. And Panchatattvam makam Krishna bhakta rupa svarupakam Panchatattva makam Krishna. So this is Panchatattva is the 5 aspects. 5 aspects of Godhead. I was citing only 3 aspects now. And you see on the left side of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is another personality, is Gadadhara. So the energetic Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya, the consciousness, Maha, the supreme consciousness, Mahaprabhu. Prabhu means master. The supreme master, Chaitanya, who is a supreme consciousness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is in the middle of the Panchatattva. And we can see 5 pictures here, on the picture here. You can see 5 pictures? Yes. So, Panchatattva. Tattva means truth, or specific truth. Pancha, specific truth. Pancha, very special truth. It's not ordinary truth. Panchatattva. Tattva means absolute truth. Absolute. What is this? What is absolute? We live in a relative world. Relativity. What is relativity? In science, there is empirical truth and relative truth, and then there is absolute truth. You speak to a scientist absolute truth, he don't understand what is absolute truth. So we have to rationalize, explain to a scientist what does it mean absolute. It is absolute. By example, I have to complete the Panchatattva. I did not complete. Gadadhara is on the left side of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Shrivas, on the right side, extreme right side, there is another personality, Shrivas. When we chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, to receive the flowing mercy. You have been bathing in rivers already sometime? Or you saw the rivers flowing in the summer? It's very beautiful. And then to receive the mercy means the river is coming from the mountains and flowing down, and then all the mercy of the rivers is flowing on the shore, to the trees, to the flowers, even the insects, they enjoy butterflies. It's beautiful, isn't it? So the river of the Panchatattva is flowing with the mercy of Panchatattva, means of the supreme aspect, 5 aspects of Godhead. 5 aspects of Godhead. Then we can chant the holy name with their mercy. And then we can develop love of God. Never, when I joined the movement, long time ago, never I've heard love of God. What does it mean, love of God? But the acharyas and the predecessors of those acharyas, they explain what is love of God. And as a new bhakta, like we have today, new bhaktas and new bhaktins, and love of God is quite fascinating to hear. And I was fascinated to hear what is the love of God by reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Love, this is this energy that makes the world running after religion, emotion, sociology, isn't it? And also science. Our founder Acharya, he could see these visions, science and religion. So love of God, love in the absolute realm, absolute paradigm, absolute platform, means that it's complete. It's complete. And there is no bankruptcy. Doesn't exist in the spiritual world. No bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is bankrupt. You know what is bankrupt? Bankrupt? There is a storehouse. By example, you go in the kitchen and you open the fridge, and all of a sudden the fridge is empty. No laddu for the offering of Polynesian Gadif. No butter. No yogurt. Oh, what a calamity. You understand? Bankruptcy. The fridge is bankrupt. You understand now? Bankrupt. So, there is no such bankruptcy in the spiritual world. No. Srila Prabhupada explained. He's explained that in the spiritual world can be never depleted. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as the leader of the Panchatattva, they are coming. He's coming with these associates from a spiritual world. We are in the material world. We know the material world, but the spiritual world is described as Chintamani prakara sanmashu kalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabi rabi palayantam lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevyamanam govindam adi purusham tam aham bhajami. What is the meaning of this shloka? This is confirm what is the spiritual world in the Brahma Samhita. Brahma is a living entity like the architect. You know, architecture. Is the architect of the universe. He went to see Krishna in the spiritual world, and he saw Krishna, and then he was so enamored by the beauty of Krishna and the activities of Krishna. He was inspired by Krishna to write the Brahma Samhita, description of the spiritual world. Everything is made of Chintamani. What is Chintamani? Who knows what is Chintamani? Chintamani prakara sammashu kalpa vriksha. You recite, I think, precious stone, huh? Like everything is like you see the floor here is a precious marble, very precious marble. It's beautiful, precious stone. Chintamani prakara salmasu kalpavriksha. What is a kalpavriksha? Vriksha means tree. Wunschbaume. Wunschbaume. I try with German accent, but Wunschbaume means a desire tree. Desire tree in the spiritual world, you can get anything from the desire tree. What do you mean? I can have enough to eat? Yes. We want to offer to our lover, Krishna, we want to offer fruit. It's coming from the Kalpavriksha. Everything is absolutely in the consciousness of love of God in the spiritual world. We can experiment in this world also. Yes? Do you have a comment? After. Comments can be done after, not now. Yeah. So, everything in the spiritual world can be experimented here. In this temple, Bhaktivedanta Swami explained that this temple is not different from the spiritual world, from Vaikuntha. Everything is, we just need to connect ourselves. How? By connecting ourselves. We recite the spiritual prayer every morning to the spiritual master, who is giving us connection. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sanma Bandhamui Savadana Mate. You know the prayer. The lotus feet of the spiritual master are the abode of pure devotional service. I bow down to those lotus feet with great care and attention. My dear brother, my dear mind, we treat the mind like a brother. My dear brother, my dear mind, it is so the grace of the spiritual master we cross over the material existence and attain Krishna. So, by the mercy of the spiritual master, this is the Guru Vandana. The board is not here. By the mercy of the spiritual master, we get connection with the absolute realm, spiritual realm. When we are connected with the spiritual realm, we can see the deity, we can see Nishingadev, Prahlad Maharaj. We can experiment in our heart. So the Paramtattva, that is Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the supreme energetic, and the energy is Nityananda Prabhu. The first incarnation of Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Nityananda Prabhu. Nitya means eternity, eternal. Nitya, Ananda. Ananda means bliss. You know. Ah, she knows. Nitya Ananda. So being connected with Nitya Ananda, he is incarnation of eternal bliss, happiness. Nitya Ananda. And Shri Advaita, he is also Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu, they are all coming from Lord Vishnu. There are three Vishnu in this material world to make the maintenance. They are the Vishnu Tattva. But they come from Vishnu Tattva. Paramtattva, Vishnu Tattva. So means that all supremely, absolutely, absolute. And Shri Advaita, he is, what is Advaita? He is Sadashiva. Sadashiva means he is, Sadashiva, he is, can you give an explanation, Sadashiva? Advaita, is Advaita means, so what means Vaita, Dvaita? Knowledge, Advantist, Dvaita, or duality, Advaita. non-dual, Advaita, Acharya. Advaita Acharya. Sri Advaita is Sadashiva, means half Vishnu, half Shiva. Did you hear about Shiva? Yes? Vishnu? Lord Vishnu? Yes? And Gadadhara is accompanying Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna. But Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he has two identities in one person. What is the second identity of Caitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna. But he came in this world to experiment what is love of God. So therefore he came in this feature, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as Gadadhara. Gadadhara is an incarnation of Ahladini Shakti. Ahladini Shakti means internal pleasure potency of Krishna. The pleasure potency who is really making Krishna happy is Radharani. You heard about Radharani? Yes? She knows everything. She's a new Bhaktin. She knows everything. So Radharani is a pleasure potency of Krishna. Means a potency which can really make pleasure to Krishna. And Shrivas, who knows who is Shrivas? What? Haridas Thakur. Narada Muni. Good. And so Shrivas, he is the pure devotee. The pure devotee who is assisting Caitanya Mahaprabhu to develop, to spread this love of God. Love of God. Krishna Varnam Tsvisa Krishna Sankumpangastra Parshadam Yagjai Sankitam Praya Yayantihi Sumedasaha. Krishna Varnam Tsvisa Krishna. Krishna, his color is dark blue, like a Tamil tree, dark blue. Huh? You saw pictures of Krishna? Very beautiful. Young boy, Navayavanam. He's blue. But here in this sloka, it is explained that Krishna Varnam, Svisa Krishna. Krishna is not blue. His color is golden hue, golden hue. Krishna Varnam. Samgumpan Gastra, Astra, Parsharam. He comes with these astra, these weapons. He comes with these weapons. Associates. What is a weapon associate? Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara. Sangumpan Gastra Parsharam, Yagyai Sanketam Praya. Yagyai, the yagya means the sacrifice he is doing, the sacrifice he is bringing in this world, in the relative world. He is Sankirtan Praya. He's bringing his supreme movement of Sankirtan. He's doing Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Are you chanting the Mahamantra every day? It's a little bit. You experiment some feelings when you chant? different consciousness, and the thoughts, they are replaced by the consciousness of the Mahamantra. This is a good experience of direct perception of oneself connected with the Mahamantra. So the Panchatattva, they came to distribute the love of God. More we chant, the more we are concentrated. As you said, our consciousness can be concentrated on the Mahamantra, on Shravanam. Shravanam Kirtanam. Shravanam means, I forgot, what is Shravanam? Ramananda. Shravanam. Listening. And Kirtanam, chanting. So Shravanam Kirtanam. Now I'm doing Kirtan. And who is doing Shravanam? The audience. Shravanam Kirtanam. For what? For Smaranam. Smaranam, we do Smaran for what? Vishnu, Krishna. And because Krishna is beautiful, and we can experiment joy and bliss in His holy name. Everything, all the energies, they're invested in His holy name. And it is very fascinating how the holy name can make people dance. Panchatattva, they came, they did this yagya prayer, the singing of the yagya, sacrifice, yagya prayer, Sankirtan yagya prayer. And who is taking up to this Sankirtan prayer? Yayantihi sumedasaha. Yajantihi sumedasaha. Means sumedasaha. Sumeda means those who are the most intelligent in this planet. Yajantihi sumedasaha. The most intelligent. They come and they can receive. And this is a chanting of the congregation. Yajantihi sumedasaha. I'm sorry. You're tired. I can see you're tired. I have to prepare the yagya for you. So you see, he's preparing the yagya. And when you will see this yagya, did you see the yagya already? It's very impressive. There is a fire, there is wood, and there are two priests. And then they sing mantras, beautiful mantras, and it's really attractive. And those mantras, they are very specific to attract the mercy of the Lord, Lord Vishnu. Yes. Yeah. So, who is Yagya? Yagya is Vishnu. So, this is absolute world. God can appear as a fire, yagya, fire, yagya. And see, this is the mercy of Panchatattva. Now it's clear who is the Panchatattva. Shrivas is the incarnation of Guru, or spiritual master. He is assisting Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya. They are Vishnu Tattva, they are coming from the Vishnu or the Supreme Incarnation, and they are accompanied with their associates. Gadadhara, who is the pleasure potency of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. When Caitanya Mahaprabhu he was on the planet, Gadadhara was always observing Caitanya Mahaprabhu and guiding Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastime. Always, Gadadhara was there. Who is Gadadhara in the Radharani? Radharani. Good. So Gadadhara is internal potency of Krishna or Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And she is always here to check Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastime. So Gadadhara, he came to accompany Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Shrivas is also the spiritual master who is assisting to distribute this love of God. Once, in Calcutta, you know Calcutta? Calcutta? Yeah, you heard about Calcutta? Calcutta, one very, very elevated soul took birth. And once, his father, what was the name of the father of Abai? Gurmohan De. And what was the name of his mother? Rani. Radharani. Correct? So, and Gurmohan De was telling his wife Rani, our son has been predicted by astrologue, French astrologer, astrologer, thank you, that our son, he will open 108 temples on the planet. And at a certain age, he will take sannyas. The mother of, and his name will be, what do you think? Abai, Charan, at lotus feet of fearfulness, a lotus feet of one who is fearfulness, who has no fear. It's nice, huh? Abai Charan, his name will be Abai Charan De. And he was, the mother was so much jubilant, and the father jubilant to have such a son, Abai Charan De. And he was predicted, it was predicted in his chart, he will cross the ocean and spread 108 temples around the world. By the mercy of Shri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Abai Charan, there he could be empowered by his spiritual master. He had a spiritual master, and his spiritual master was asking to spread the mission of love of God in the language of English. And only the most intelligent will take up to the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The most intelligent. You know, we are fortunate. You believe? You believe so? She's like a child when she's smiling, like a child. And you look like an innocent boy. So, and you look very astonished, surprising. Like you want to know more. Yes, this is the prophecy of Abai Charan, and what he did when he was empowered to cross the ocean. Sannyasi in the Kali Yuga, they cannot cross the ocean. But he did, just to fulfill the order of his guru, of his spiritual master. He did. And then it happened that he had about, he started in the Bowery in New York. Very simple. very simple. A very elevated spiritual master, going in the Bauri state. Bauri, you heard about the Bauri in New York? Is very, what is in the Bauri? Drunkard, beggars, and he was living in this Bauri for some time. And the beggars, it is described in his biography, they were offering obeisances and respect to him. Every time Abhay Charan, he was going to his loft. He had a loft. And he was living there. And he was starting single-handed. It is described here. Single-handed. With just a pair of karatel. He was singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In New York City. Tompkins Square. And hippies, they were attracted by his activity, by his singing. Hippies, 100 hippies, 1,000 of hippies. And he transformed them into happies. Yes. At that time, hippies, they did not like this Vietnam War. You remember Vietnam War? And people coming from really rich families, aristocratic families, intelligent, long hair, and they were doing a revolution. And they were transformed by the power of purity. Purity is the force. Purity is the force. By the power of purity of Abhay Charan, 100 and 1,000 of hippies, they come and started to dance and chant in ecstasy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, that's a very interesting point, that there is no question of scarcity. And one day Abhay Charan, he was having 500 disciples. And he said, that's enough. Now we are going to boil down the milk. What's happened when you boil the milk? When you boil the milk, what's going to happen? First you take the foam when you boil the milk. Low flame. You boil the milk and you have the foam on the top. And you can take all the foam. And this is called robbery. If you go to Mayapur or to Vrindavan, you see many salesmen, they have a big wok and they boil the milk and they collect the foam on the top of the milk. And then you can make a robbery. It's a sweet mixed with sugar. It's delicious. It's delicious. And if you boil down the milk more, you have robbery, then you can have, if you expert, you can mix with some sour product, sour liquid, and then it becomes cheese. Then the fat will be separated from the water. Then it becomes paneer. Paneer. You saw this paneer? Cheese already? Sometimes they serve this paneer in the sabji. And depending how you press the paneer, if you press the paneer very shortly, you can have soft paneer, and you can make sandesh. You can rub on the table, and like massage, you massage the paneer, the cheese, and then you can have a very soft rasgulla. Rasgulla? Or sandesh, you can make sandesh. And if you boil more the milk, boiling the milk more down, and you put sugar in it, what's going to happen? Then all the water will evaporate, then you can have a paste at the end, a paste which can really be delicious, because the paste at the end you can take it with a spoon and then make it burfi. See what we can do with milk. And Srila Prabhupada, he said, now we have 500 students. We are going to boil down the milk. Means we are going to train them with philosophy, sadachar, good habits, and philosophy, training, education. Otherwise, if we make more devotees, then the milk will be spoiled. The milk will be watered. It will not be real milk, but the milk will be, how do you say? When the milk is mixed with water, yes, watered down. So he said, we are going to boil down the milk. Training, education. And after, he was training everyone how to open a center. Then more people came. More people came. Then 1,000 disciples, 5,000 disciples, 10,000 disciples. So it is, it is achintya, inconceivable, inconceivable. So those who propagate the Krishna consciousness movement should not be afraid of such rascals and fools. When Srila Prabhupada came back to India, they started to criticize him. How can you make Westerners into Vaishnavas? How can you make Westerners into Vaishnavas? It is not proper. He was criticized. But by the way, he was going on preaching and preaching and preaching. And then more than 108 temples are open in the world today. More than 108 temples are open today. And thousands today, every day we can see, even in Singhachalam, every day, every week, there is a newcomer. Once Stefan, he came. You came 1 month ago, huh? I saw him coming in the evening. He said, finally, I feel good. I'm at home. I am at home. I feel good. And every day we can experiment. There are newcomers. Daniel, he came, when did you come? 2 days ago. Thursday. Yeah, 2 days ago. And Christina, she came last week, 1 week ago. Yes? Monday, huh? So we see newcomers, they come every day. So there is no scarcity. No scarcity. Therefore, those who propagate the Krishna consciousness movement should not be afraid of such rascals and fools. We have still 2 minutes. Who wants to add some question or comment? Prasadam is good, huh? Soon we will have nice prasadam. Soon. Pasha is preparing everything for the pleasure of the Lord. Oh, you have a question?
I have a question.
Tell me.
Because you spoke about science and also this verse Chintamani, how we can understand that Krishna is the supreme, there's nobody above. Because the argument is always to people, you always can say, so who created, who created your father, who created his father, who created go to Krishna, but then in the end, there is no conclusive argument anymore. You cannot say, you cannot prove who created Krishna. But in one point, one has to believe there's nobody above Krishna.
Mhm.
So from a scientific point of view, or how you would explain this to somebody challenging using some facts?
Mhm. It's a good question. A bit difficult to answer, but it's a good question for scientists. We spoke about scientists. You remember? Scientific background. Who created God? Who created Krishna? The Vedanta Sutra, there is Atato Brahma Jigyasa, the first aphorism. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This is the aphorism of Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra. What does it mean? Atato Jnana Jigyasa. Jigyasa means knowledge. Atato means now. You inquire about the absolute truth. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. You inquire now. We present sometimes in the different conferences on science and spirituality this aphorism. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma means the inquire about the supreme absolute truth. Supreme absolute truth. Atato, now, you inquire now about the absolute truth. But who is the origin? Because there is this theory of the Big Bang. Big Bang is coming, it's from the empirical philosophy. The Big Bang is coming from a chunk. You believe this? Big Bang? I mean, the explosion of the beginning of the universe is coming from a soup. You know soup, you cook soup sometime at home? Huh? Yes. So, when you go to cook a soup, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Atato means inquire now about the absolute truth. Who created this soup? You go to cook a soup in your kitchen. The soup is appearing all of a sudden by accident in your pot, or you have to prepare all the ingredients. Did you? Yeah. Make sense? How do you prepare a soup? Mm-hmm. You boil the water and you bring the ingredients. Vegetables, and then the vegetables are boiled. Then you put some spices. Spices in the soup. But you never saw soup appearing like by accident. All of a sudden in your pot you have a big amount of soup. Makes no sense. You can ask any scientist to prepare a soup, or the soup is prepared with so many ingredients, and intelligence must be also applied. Intelligence must be applied. How to prepare a nice soup. So, to come back to the question of Ramananda, how to convince scientists that who has been creating God. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we have holy scriptures, isn't it? We have holy scriptures, authentic holy scriptures. How can we verify if it is authentic or not authentic? Which experiment? By knowledge in our life. Experiment. Sripad Bhakti Swabda Maharaj Swami said, spiritual practice, spiritual technology in practice. So how to prove to the scientists that nobody is above God? Nobody. Nobody is above God. Nobody can create. Mata parataram nanyat. You think Krishna has been created by somebody else, Julia? How do you know? Maybe yes. How can you prove what you're saying? Vedic scriptures. Yes. Vedic scriptures. You can prove with the experimental, given by the Vedic scriptures, that nobody, mata parataram nanyat. Krishna says, absolutely, nobody is above me. Nanyat. Nobody is above me. Krishna says, already, this is one injunction. One injunction coming from the Vedic scriptures. Yes, from the Vedic scriptures. You see, the student of Bhaktivedanta Swami, they refer to the Vedic scriptures. There are scriptures which can give the authentic, authorized answer. Yes. So, it's like you have no faith in the scriptures. Faith is like one day you can be Muslim, one day you can be Christian, one day you can be Hindu, isn't it? This is faith. Is that you who said? Okay. And this is faith. But Vedic scriptures is not based on faith. It's like Vedic scriptures is defining what is Sanatan Dharma. It's like Sanatan Dharma, eternal nature or religion of the soul. The soul is Sanatan Dharma, eternally spiritual. And this is confirmed. It's like you take the exact example of the fire. What is Sanatan of the fire? Heat. Yes. And what is the Sanatan of the water? Liquidity. And what is the Sanatan of sugar? Sweet. And what is the Sanatan of the chili? Pungent. Hot. Pungent. So if the sugar is becoming pungent and the chili is becoming sweet, is this Sanatan? Doesn't make sense. Sugar is never chili. Does the sugar has sometimes the pungent flavor of the chili? Huh? Related with the scripture, it is that Sanatan, the nature of the soul is Sanatan, eternally religious and spiritual. So this is the nature of the soul. Cheers.
Maybe like this is your explanation against relativism, because relativism can say maybe that if you have to look at it like it's not absolute, and he says absolute like chili nuggets.
Chili.
Like it never can be something different.
Chili, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the chili cannot be sweet, and the sugar cannot be pungent. I mean, hot, spicy. So similarly, the nature of the soul is Sanatan. The nature of the soul, according to the Vedic scriptures, if you don't have faith, the soul, Sanatan, the nature of the soul is to be eternally eternally. Dharma. In the Dharma, what is the Dharma of the soul? Yes, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Sat Chit Ananda, Chit, food of knowledge. Sat, eternity. Ananda, blissful. Sat Chit Ananda. So this is a Sanatan Dharma of the soul. We want to be, everybody in this world wants to be happy. No? Everybody. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to be miserable. So to refute the scientists, we can refute the scientists. We can tell them, your soul is Sanatan Dharma. You believe or not, maybe you are a scientist, you are an atheist, maybe you are agnostic. You are a scientist, you are agnostic, a philosopher, but your soul is Sanatan Dharma. You want to serve. This is the Sanatan Dharma of the soul, is to serve. We cannot change the nature of the soul. Or you serve the material energy of the Lord, or you serve God. But the Sanatan Dharma is there in the soul. And who created this soul is given by the Vedic scriptures. There is a shloka, and then I finish. In Chaitanya Caritamrta. Did I answer your question? More or less. More or less. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Haribol. I finish soon. I don't know if you are satisfied by the answer?
Well, I'm not completely. I mean, I know all these arguments. I was thinking it was a good if, not so anymore, but we can speak privately as well. It's an interesting question.
Good question.
Thank you. I think
Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you. So there is a shloka in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Sajya Kabunoi. Means Nitya Siddha. Eternal love. Pure love. Eternal. Pure love of Krishna. Pure love of God. Reside eternally in the heart of all the living entities. In the heart of all the living entities, confirmed in the Vedic scriptures. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajakabunoi. Krishna Prema Sajakabunoi. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udoy. Udoy means awaken. Awaken. So eternal love for God, of eternal love for Krishna, pure love for Krishna, reside eternally in the heart of all the living entities. There is no other source to look for. No other source to look for. Simply by hearing, one's dormant love awakens. Simply by hearing, one's dormant love awakens. And hearing what? Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahamantra. Simply by hearing. So much knowledge. When I joined many years ago, I didn't have any of this knowledge. Nothing of this knowledge. Nothing. I was into different research with art. But I came to this moment, see, we can plunder. We can try to plunder all the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But there is no scarcity. more and more people come to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, to taste the prasadam of Krishna. More and more people. We can discuss more down if you want after Mahaprasadam. Caitanya Charitamrta ki jai. Grantara Srimad Caitanya Charitamrta ki jai. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Always the same. You can expand yourself.